Okay, good evening, everybody, and welcome back to our second day for the React.js Essentials. I hope you people are doing good. I just saw a comment that you people think like I talked little fast, so I'm just gonna go a little slow today. But I think it's like I always feel like I talk very slowly, so I intentionally tried to speak little faster yesterday. I'm just going to be little less bit better too. Um, Okay, so somebody have a doubt like how I use that arrows in my code. So I'm just going to cover that as well. It's not related to React. It's just a cool trick that I use to look little cool. Yeah. Okay. Up. So good evening. By the way, today we are actually going to use React to build something, and for that we are going to understand few concepts. Let's just first see what we are going to build today, or we are just going to try it. Let's see if we can or not. So it's just a very simple game. You just need to guess a number between 1 to 10. That's it. Okay, you can just click on the start button. Then you can just enter any number here, and we have to guess a number between 1 to 10. And if we guess it, obviously we are lucky. But if we can't, then we are not lucky enough today. So let me just guess. Let's say 3. You can click on this check button to see, and yeah, and if you guess some wrong number, this dog is actually going to laugh at you. It's a dog that we had in a game called Duck Hunt. Yeah, so that is the same dog here. Anyways, it is going to give you a hint which says guess a higher number. So let me just try. Let's say 6, and yeah, so 6 was the right answer, and yeah, we are successful. We are not that lucky, but we are lucky enough today. So this is what we are going to build today. It's a simple and very basic game, but by using this we are going to learn about few of the concepts. The very important concept is states, like what is state in React, how we use it, what is the requirement of a state, and we will also learn about the components and the props and a lot of cool React related stuff. I hope you did that assignment yesterday where you just need to build a hello world project. So let me just close this. And so what I have right here is a blank project. Let me just start this. Okay. So it's just a simple React project. We are just going to continue from where we left yesterday. So it just says simple say hello. And we are going to continue from here. Okay. So we are just going to start from here only. Okay. Uh, that is the font. Yeah. So actually, that is a font. Good evening. Oh, Naveen, thanks for letting me know I am audible and visible because I was not aware about it that I also need to ask this to you. Yeah, cool. So, shall we? Everybody's ready for today's session to learn about these cool concepts and especially our game. So, today we are 51. I guess you people are not sharing these lives with your friends. It's going to be good, like if you do this. Okay, I'm going to get some prizes if you do this. Yeah, so okay, so very first thing we are going to understand today is called as component. Okay, so what is a component? So component is actually a very powerful thing that we use in React. Okay, so today we will be using components. So what is a component? So component is a small piece of UI that we can use again and again. Okay, so let me just put a heading here, components. So let me also give it a division. Inside this division, I'm just going to put this heading h1, and let me just put this here. Okay, components. Why I'm doing is just to write this heading here. Cool. So component is just a small piece of UI. So let's just build a component first, right? So in a nutshell, component is just a function. So let me create another function here. You can go with arrow function or a simple regular function. But for now, I'm just going to use arrow functions. So const, let me create a component here. Yeah? Component. component. So component is just a function, just like this. Okay, so this is a component. Wait for a minute. Wait for a few minutes. I'm just going to cover all this. So component is just a function which is going to return you some JSX H4. I am a component. Okay, but you actually can ask me, this is also a function and it is also returning some JSX. So is it also a component? Yes. So this app is also a component and we call this root component. So this is our root component actually. Yeah, you can create as many components as you want, but you have to have one root component. And this is our root component, which is which is going to have everything inside of it. It's just like a main function in C++ or in C. So anyways, this is just a component here. So we have created our component here. But as you can see here, you are not actually seeing this component or anything like that on your screen. Like we are just getting this component heading. But why we are not getting this? Because now we have to use this component. And you can actually use this component inside your this part, like this, the return statement for your root component. And you can use it like just like a regular HTML. Let me show it to you. So just create this and you can write component here like this. Okay, just also give me 1 second. Let me just start my pen as well. So yeah. So you can use component like this. So you have to put your put the name of your component just like you use some HTML tags. And if I give it a save, see I'm getting here I am. Okay, let me just put a component here as well. Okay, see I am a component. So component is just a function which is going to return some JSX, and then you can use this component in your root component, the main UI, just like a simple HTML element. Yeah, just like a simple HTML element. So this is actually the same thing. Let me create one more component here. Yeah, const my component. You can give it any name you want, and it should return some JSX. Yeah, it's very mandatory. It should return some JSX. Any JSX will work. I am component, and let me just write here. I am my component here, and let me give it a save. And now you can also use this component in your root UI like this, just like this. My component. You can self close this, and if I give it a save, you can see I'm getting this here as well. Now the fun part is you can use this thing as many times you want. See, my component, my component, my component. So you just build a small piece of UI, and now you can use that small piece in your main UI as many times you want. So let's just make something useful this time. Instead of creating these random components and all, I'm just going to create a button here. Okay. So like in any simple application or any very complex applications as well, you do have many buttons, right? You have to build those buttons again and again, like again and again. You have to create one button, then you have to create another button. So in React, what we do, we create a component. You can name that component anything. So I'm just going to create a component with the name of my button. Obviously, you can go with some good name, but for now, I'm just going to go with this one. And this is going to return a button. Okay, just like this. Or let's just return something else. Let me just return a division. Inside this division, I'm going to have let's say h5. Let's say I am button, and after that I'm going to have a button here like this. Let's just put click me here. Let me format this, and if you can see here, so we have created a component with the name of my button, which is returning this JSX. Okay, this thing like division. Inside the division there's a h5 and a button here, and now I can use this component in my main UI like this. Like this we can use it, and see I'm getting this click me here, and now I can actually use this my button as many times I want. So I have this, right? See, I'm a button, I'm a button, I'm a button, I'm a button. Okay, like cool. You can actually use this, but it's not that useful, right? What if you just want to have a different title or a different, let's say, different text in your button every time you use it? Right now, we are just copy pasting this shit. Like it's not that much useful. So how we can actually make this thing little useful. So if you notice closely for that thing, if you notice here very closely, this is a function, right? At the end of the day, a component is just a function. It is just a function which is going to return some JSX. That's it. So in any function, you can actually accept some arguments, isn't it? So what we can do here, so let's have an argument here with the name of, let's say, my argument. So let's say some parameters, yeah, parameters. Anyways, these are actually arguments for just parameters. Okay, we can have these parameters here, and let me just console.log these parameters. Okay, let's see what we are getting. And if I open this, and if I go to the console, I'm actually getting an object, a blank object. Okay, just look it very closely. This is just a function. This is just a function. In any function, you can have any parameters. But how you're going to pass these parameters? So when you call your component, when you use your component, you can actually give them attributes. Remember, like in your simple HTML, we used to give some attributes, like in anchor tag, anchor element, we had used to have href, or let's say target. Remember, like in image, we used to have some source and all. Just like you can also give some attributes here. So let me give an attribute title. You can give it any name, by the way. Title, button one. Okay, you can give it, let's say, button one, and you can also give it some another. You can give it as many times, as many what you say, as many attributes as you want. Okay, so I'm going to give it one more text. Let's say, click here, something like this. Okay, so this time while using my component, I'm also passing some random arguments here, this random attributes. Okay, and now you can actually use these attributes inside your component. How? So in this function, this argument here, this parameter thing is actually going to be an object. So this is going to be an object. Automatically, it is going to get converted into an object. And this object is going to have these values. Okay, so these values, it is going to be the key, value, key, and value. Let me show it to you. Then it's going to be very simple for you to understand. If I open this console here, look closely, I'm logging out this parameter thing. And if I go here, and if I make it see, I'm getting this text, click me, and title, button one. So inside this parameter thing, you're actually going to get these two values as an object. So this is the object. So parameter dot value is actually, parameter dot title is actually this title. And just like that, parameter dot text is actually this text. So text, click me here. And now instead of having this thing directly, I'm a button, I'm just going to write here parameters dot title, and same here, parameter, let me just use it here, dot text. Okay, anyways, you can give it any name, any attribute you want. It's not like fixed. There are some fixed values, but you don't have to worry about them. So you can actually give them anything, and it is going to get collected as an object inside this parameter thing, and then you can use it like a simple object, like parameter dot title. And remember, I told you yesterday that in this JSX, you can actually use a variable directly. All you have to do is to just put these curly brackets, and inside this curly bracket, you can actually have this, like any value, any variable you wanted to. And now I'm just going to delete this, and let's just see what we are getting. See, I'm getting button one and click me. Now I'm just going to use the same component once again. The only thing I will be changing is the value of my attributes, my props, or let's say. So it is going to be the button two. Let me just put here, let's say, don't click here, and see. So I'm actually reusing this component again and again with different values. On you can use it on your demand, on your requirement. So it actually cuts off a lot of hecticness. You don't have to repeat your code and all. So By the way, this thing actually have a proper name, and we call them props. Okay, props. So these are actually called as props. So component can have props just like this. So these are actually the props. We call them props. Anyways, these are just simple attributes. And the argument that we use here is also props. So props.title, props.text. We don't call it parameters. We call them props, just like this. And if you see, like, we are getting the same thing. So why don't we just create another component here with the name of title, const title. Okay, and it is also going to have this prop thing, and here I'm just going to return return, and I'm just going to return props.title. Okay, so now if the user want to use this component, they have to provide a prop title here. Okay, anyways, you could have gone with any name. Let me just go with, let's say, heading. Okay, you can actually have any name here. So instead of this component here, I'm going to this h1 thing. See this h1 component, I'm just going to remove it with my title. So title like this, and I'm providing this heading. See, I'm using this component with a prop name heading, and I'm using it here. And now you can actually use this heading as many times you want. And let's see. So let me just use this title again. Today we will learn about components, and I'm going to give you a really quick recap now. Okay, so actually you can now you have a small piece of UI, and you can use it as many times you want. By passing different props, you're going to get a different result. Cool. So now it's time to give you a quick recap. Reuse abilities, sir. It's not necessary that all time you should return some JSX. Yeah, you can. So I'm just going to come to that part. Obviously, because sometimes we have this thing called conditional rendering. So at that time you can return nothing. But for now, if you can see here, so this is what I was telling you. Like these are components. So components are just a small function. But in the React context, we call it a component is just a small piece of UI that we can use again and again, depending on your requirement. But you look at it in this way, it's just a function which is just returning some JSX, and you can pass some parameters or argument, and you can use it like a regular function. So don't you think like these components are just like functions? Like functions also do the same thing, right? So you can create a function, you can call a function as many times you want, and you can just pass different values to get the different output. So this is just a function, right? Who said it's not used to have a who said it's of no use? You haven't used React server component. Yeah, we are going to cover that thing. But I can't see the whole message. Like there's some small icon here. It's very difficult to see the whole message. Okay, thanks, buddy. Yeah, good knowledge of JS is required. Yeah, obviously you need to have little bit decent knowledge of JavaScript. Otherwise, you can't use the React.js. What is div? Bro, div is division, like HTML div. It's just a simple div, like H1, H2, paragraph, div. Remember, like basic HTML. Use Express for okay, oh god, like there are so many. Anyways, I mean your photo. Let's start. Fit the webcam in corner. Okay, let me ask. Can you just fit my photo in the corner so you can have a bigger picture of the screen or something like that? Okay. Anyways, shall we move to the next part? Let's just style this thing. It's looking very ugly. Now let's just do the very first thing, which is going to styling and all. So let me just remove all this. So in React, basically we have three type of styling. Yeah, before moving to next part, let me tell you, we don't actually create all the components in this file. Right now, if you can see, we have created both the components, my button and the title, in the same app.js file. As you can see, here we are having this app.js file, and inside this we have these two components, and obviously this root component as well. So this is not you need to do. Like we can actually organize our code in a much better way. So for that, all you need to do is to create a different folder, but keep in mind you have to write all of your code inside the source folder only. Okay, don't go outside of this. Okay, it's just like some let's say some forbidden thing. You cannot go outside of this. So I'm actually going to create a component folder here. You can name it anything, but obviously a folder that contains component should should be named as components. Okay, so I'm actually using this components folder, and inside this I'm going to create a file. So let me create a file with the name of my button dot JS. Okay, it's a JavaScript file. But in React, we also use the extension JSX. Okay, so it's not mandatory. It is actually going to work properly without even this X thing. But it's actually it's going to help our VS Code and our compiler to understand that we are working with React.js here. So instead of using this, just put JSX. There's actually a lot of science behind this, but for now you don't have to worry about that. And I'm just going to cut this function from here, this my button that we have created. Let's just cut it and let's paste it inside our new file. Cool. So what I did, I created a new folder inside the source folder because we cannot go outside of this. Inside the folder, I'm creating a new file, mybutton.jsx. You could have given it any name, but obviously it's a good practice to give this name same as your component, mybutton. So file name should also be mybutton. And after that, we can actually export this button from it, right? Export default. So we are exporting this function from this file. We are exporting this function or this component from this file. Now we can import this function or component wherever we want to use it. So for now, we actually want to use this component inside our app.js. So you can just go over here, type import my button from and just specify the path. It's actually some basic JavaScript going on here. So you can actually import anything, any function, any variable, any component from a file. Just type this syntax import, a name here, the thing that you want to import from, and the file path. So dot slash, now you are in the same folder directly. So here you can see all the files and all. Just select the folder components. Inside the components folder, the file name is my button. And now you can use it like this. And see, I'm getting the same output here. It's not getting changed. And I'm going to do the same with this title component as well. So let's just create another component here, title.jsx. Okay, title.jsx. I'm going to cut this thing from here. Let's paste this inside our title.jsx and let's just export this thing from here. Yeah, exporting is very important. Without exporting something, you cannot import it. Okay, it's like if nobody is giving you something, how you can take it unless you are actually going to beat the shit out of them. But anyways, so now I'm importing title from that as well. Okay, so now we have a component, and in this component we have two components for now. Usually in some normal projects, you are going to have thousands of hundreds of components, so you have to manage them very properly. And this is our first little step towards that. We are actually like keeping all the components together in the same folder. Okay, cool. And if you can see, like our code is properly working, and this is a really neat trick to have your files and everything in a cool way. Don't we give the extension? Oh no, you don't have to. You don't have to. You don't have to provide JSX here. Okay, because it's already very smart. It will understand what type of extension you are having, so you don't have to. Okay, cool, cool. So we have a lot of messages going on here. Your help, yeah. Thank you, Aditya. You're helping a community. Yeah, okay, okay. But just you are giving. Don't let people get panicked. You are here to support me. Yeah. Anyways, let me just remove all this and let's just move to the next part, which is styling. Let me see if we are going good. Yeah, we are going good. So how you can style something in React? So in normal HTML, CSS, JavaScript, obviously you can use CSS. Same thing, we are going to use it here. So there are three ways to style something. and to be very specific, to style JSX. Yep. So to style these things here. So let's just style our title component, right? Because it's the simplest component we got for now. So there's first way, which is called as inline styling. It's very simple. Just go over here. Just go over here, and here you can provide the style attribute. Okay, the style attribute like this. Let me just zoom this a little bit. Just write here style. Okay, in style is going to accept an object. So create an object here. Okay, and after this you can provide all of your styling. Let's say color, but you have to note one thing, that these are not simple CSS properties. These are actually converted so that you can actually use them in JavaScript. If you notice, I'm going to use it a background color property, like background color to yellow, and I'm getting this yellow thing. But in CSS, this is not the way to write background color. In CSS, we write background color like this: background GROUND -color, and then we write anything, any color we want. But obviously, this is not going to work in JavaScript, because in JavaScript you cannot use hyphen, because it's forbidden symbol. So that's why, to make it usable in our JavaScript, because at the end of the day it's a JavaScript file. Okay, it's JSX. It doesn't matter if we have this thing or not, but it's a JavaScript file. So we cannot actually have that hyphen thing. So they actually have converted these thing into camel casing. So any letter after the hyphen is going to be capitalized. So see, the C is capital. And then you can have all the property, let's say font size, and you can provide 50 pixels, let's say 100 pixels, save it, and now it's in 100 pixels or 50 pixels. So anyway, this is the simplest way to style any component and any element in React. This is inline styling. Then we have the second way. So if you don't want to use this, again, it's very simple. Just put this style, create this curly brackets. And after that, this is just a simple JavaScript object. If you want to see, this is just a JavaScript object. You could also have created one variable like style object, and you could have done this as well, and just provide this thing here. Let me format this all. See, so this is just an object, a simple JavaScript object, key value, key value, key value. You can also have some numbers if you wanted to. And this is the object I'm providing in the style attribute. Okay. So like you can do like this, or you can directly create object here as well if you want to, whatever you feel comfortable with. Usually people are going to write this thing directly here, but it's on you how you want to. But I'm just going to go with this one only. I'm just going to create the object directly there. So this is the first way. Now the second one is by creating CSS file, like normal simple way to style anything. So you can create a CSS file anywhere you want. So I'm going to create a CSS file here only, where I have my component with the name of title.css. Inside this, you can actually create your classes. Now we don't use ID here. We can only use classes. You will understand why I'm saying this. So just create a class. Let's say type main. Okay, let's just create a title class. In the title class, let's have some styling here. So this is the styling. Now, so this is a CSS file, right? This is a CSS file. But in your component, you can actually import your CSS. So you can add this CSS to your component file. It's very simple. Just type import and mention the file name like this. Now this CSS file is connected with your component file, which is this. Now you can actually use any class name that is inside this file CSS, title.css. So to use that, just go over here and type class. Okay, and then you have to mention the class name, which is title here. Okay, so this is the title, right? TITLE, title, and you can use it here like this. Give it a quick save and see our title is styled. Now the fun part is actually you can use the title as many times you want, like this. my first React app. Let me just put here my second React app, and all of those components going to have the same styling, right? Because this component, the title component, we are creating a component and we are giving a style. But here is a little catch, a very small catch that you can ignore. But instead of using class, we have to use class name. Anyways, it is not going to give you any error. But why? Because class is a keyword in JavaScript. Okay, this class. So like we have const, a let, for, okay, for, if. So these are keywords, isn't it? If, then we have else. So you cannot actually create a variable name with let's say const. Okay, const which is equals to 10. This is not allowed. Const is a reserved keyword. Just like class is also a reserved keyword in JavaScript. So that is why you cannot use this. So again, it have a lot of internal thing going on. It's that's not important, and it's not like I won't be able to cover all this in this 1 hour of class. We already have like we just have 3 hours to do a lot of stuff. So just instead of class, just use class name, right? And if you can see now, we are getting this. So let me just use our button as well. Button, and button can have two arguments, title, let's say button, and for the text, let me have this thing, click me. So now we have our button. Let's just style our button also. So for the button, I'm going to create another CSS file, my button.css. Let's create a class here, btn, and you can just give it any style. I'm just waiting for my copilot to write some styling. And yeah, so this is some CSS styling which I got automatically because I have some AI support with me, and I'm just going to import this here, button.css. See, I'm just importing the CSS file with my file here, and then I can just give it a class. So instead of all this, let me just give it a class name of btn, right? So this is the class name that we have created, right? btn. And also we have a lot of things going on here. This is just CSS, you can actually ignore it. And I'm having this prop.text. We are not making use of props.title thing, so we can actually get rid of this title here. Okay, just single prop, and voila, you have your button here. And now the fun part is you actually can use the button as many times you want. Just provide the different arguments, right? No, I don't. Click me. Let's say login. Okay, you can have logout, logout, log out, and let's say sign up. Why I'm doing this? Okay. Sign up, yeah. So now we have 3 buttons, and anytime you want to have any button or your heading in your application, you just have to make use of your component. You don't have to create anything again ever. So this is the second way of creating, doing some styling work. There's a third way as well, which we call as module.css. I'm just going to cover that in a minute. But before that, let me just go over here and let's see if you are having any doubts. Please share the code. Yeah, I'm going to share the code. Props.heading in the title component. Oh my god, I have to just go to the very top. Scroll. Let's go. Yes, can we create a RESTful API with React? No, for that you have to use some servers, right? Okay. Let's just go. What is a div? Who said one of? Oh my god, let you got journalist purpose. Hi Sanjay. If I have show you how to generate beat button class with AI. Okay, Naveen, I am going to create registration form. Yeah, we will be. And before that, we have to cover, I guess, last thing, which is state. And after that, we can actually create that game as well if we wanted to. Yeah. So let's just cover everything so that we can actually work on some more stuff tomorrow. So today we are just going to cover all the basics. Yesterday we got the introduction. Today we are doing basics, and hopefully tomorrow we can do some advanced stuff as well. So let's just move to the next part, which is actually our state here. So this is our app. Let me use our button here and our own created. Okay, let me just get rid of these components for now, just for now. So let's just move to the third part, which comes under the basics of React, which is a state. Okay. So for that, what I want here, I want a button and a number. And anytime user is going to click on that button, that number should increase by 1. So this is what I want now. So for that, I'm going to create a variable count let. Why I'm using let? Because I want to change this, right? Because I want to make count equals to count plus 1 and something like that. I'm going to use this count here. Well, why don't we just use our title thing? We have our component title. In the title, what is the prop that we need to pass? Is the heading. Okay, so let's have a heading here. In the heading, I am going to pass this thing count. Okay, I'm going to pass this count here, and see, I'm getting 1 here. So I'm using. If you want, you can, or otherwise, if you want to keep things little simple, just use some simple JSX count. Okay. So number is this. So I'm getting number is count. Number is 1. Okay. Number is 10. And you can make this number anything you want. And just making this thing 232 or whatever you want to 156 and something like that. So just keep it 1. Now I'm going to have a button here, BUTTON, and I'm just going to write it here, increase. We could have also created our component button, but for now, let's just do this. Now I want to do something when user is going to click on this button. Okay, so I want to set up an event listener. Remember in JavaScript we used to set up event listener, and it used to be very difficult just to set a single event listener. We have to grab that element, like we need to provide a ID or something like that, INC button or something like that. Then you need to grab that button, then you do button dot add event listener something. But here it's super easy, like super easy. All you have to do is to type on click, and here in this on click you can pass a function that you want to call when user going to click on this button. So let me just create a function. You can name this function anything. I'm just going to write this handle click. It is a function, and for now I'm just going to write alert button click, and I'm just going to give this function to our on click here. So let me copy this and paste it here. Don't worry, I'm just going to give you a recap as well. Okay, so this is how we set up event listener in React. It's super easy. Just create your function that you want to call, and and on actually any of the JSX element. These are JSX element. Just write on click, and provide the function that you want to call. So this function is going to get called when anybody is going to click on this element, this button element. Let's just verify this as well. If I'm going to click here, see, I'm getting button clicked. Yep, see, button clicked. Likewise, we have a lot of events like on hover, on change, like see, on wheel, on touch, on rate change, volume, duration, and a lot of things, or blur, abroad, cut, copy, paste, drag, drop. Like we have a lot of events going on here, on focus, on input. Oh my god, I don't use these much. I just use on click for most of the time. So yeah, so you can actually have this on click on this and this as well, on click. Just provide the function that you want to call here. I'm going to provide the same function for no reason, or you can create as many functions and you can provide that as well. So it's very simple to set up event listeners. It's super easy. Just write on click and provide the function. That's it. Like this. Yep. Like this. It's very simple, very easy. Let me just close this. And now this is not what I want to do when anybody going to click on this button. I actually want to increase the value of count by 1. I want to increase the value of count by 1. So I can do this count equals to count plus 1, or if you want, you can do count plus plus. Like there are millions of ways to do this. Okay, I'm just also going to provide these ways here as well. I guess I need to write this. Okay, so these are the different. It's just a comment. Okay, it's just a comment. React is going to ignore this part. And let me also do the console.log for the count. So theoretically, anytime this function is going to get called, this value should increase by 1. So right now it's 1, it should 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And we are using this count here in our JSX, in our view, or however you want to call this. And it should also increase, right? Let's see if it is working or not. If I do this, let me also open the console log here, and let's just put it in the right side. Console, let's clean everything. Okay. Okay. So if you see here, I'm going to click on this. Like nothing is happening. But if you see in console, the value of count is actually getting increased. Let me show it to you. I am increasing the value of count by 1, and then I'm just logging it out, right? And also I have used the same count in my UI as well. So here the value of count is getting increased. I can obviously see it. Like you can see it here, like it's getting 2, 3, 4, 5, and so on and so forth. But you're not getting any updated value in UI. Like why? Like how? Like value is getting increased, but we are not getting it here. So why this is happening? So the reason is because React does not update, or we can call it render. React do not render or re-render our UI. What does it? What is rendering? Rendering is just designing or just having something on your screen. So whenever you see something on your screen, it actually gets renders. Have you seen like we do rendering in mobile games, computer games, in movies? So when you create a scene or something, yeah, when you create something in digital form, most of the time in pictures or in a display media, you can actually call it a rendering. So React is not going to render if any of the variable changes. So if any variable changes its value, React is not going to update the UI. So this part never gets executed. It's just going to call the function, it's just going to increase the value. But it's not going to show anything new on the screen. Why? Just to improve the performance. But now I actually want to update this thing on my UI. So how you can do that? So for that, we have to create a state. So for that, we have to create a state. So we cannot actually use these normal variables. These variables you can use, but don't hope like if they change, your UI is going to get updated. No. If you want to have a value on which you want to update the UI, whenever that value changes, you have to create a state. States just like normal variables, but whenever the state value changes, UI will get updated. So let's just create our first state here. And it's going to be a little tricky for the first time when you're going to see how to create a state. Loading the render at the same time. Yeah, make sure countering click. Okay. So let's just create our first state. For to create a state, you have to import one hook or one function from React. So just type here import use state from React. Okay, so you have to import this use state hook. It's actually just a function. We call this hook just to look cool. Yep. So it's just a function that you have to import from React. Okay. And now, first of all, let me just remove all this. And let me just comment this out as well. So let's create a state here. To create a state, just call this hook use state. Just call this hook use state. Call this function. Call this function use state, and this function is going to return you a state. So let's just store that state in a variable const count. So now this count is a state. Okay, this count is a state. So this hook use state is going to return you a state. Okay, use state is going to return you a state. It's just a function. Just like a function, it returns a state. And this state is actually a value, a variable, a value. Yeah. So let me just log it out, console.log count, so that we can see what is this count after all. So this count is actually a array. This count is actually a array. This state is actually a array. See, this is actually a array with two items inside of this. The first item is undefined for some reason, and the second item is some function. So let's just understand what is this. So by the way, before moving to next part, if you want to give some initial value, to your state, you have to provide it as an argument to this use state function. Like if I provided, let's say Sanjay. So this Sanjay is going to be the initial value of this count. It's actually same as doing this, right? Like let count, sorry, const count equals to Sanjay. Okay, it's when we give some initial values, right? So something like this only. So we are give it some initial value. If I provide, let's say 0 here, our state is going to be something like this, count equals to 0, right? It may seem a little bit tricky, but stay with me, it's super easy. So for now, let me just provide Sanjay so you can see it. So this state is equals to Sanjay value for now. Let's just see it again, if it is or not. I guess it's not. And why? Again, it's an array. It's an array. In this array, the first element is actually our value. This first thing is actually our value. And the second thing is a function. Okay, cool. So this first thing is actually our value. So let me just use it in our UI for now, just so we can have something on our screen. So let me close this. So this count, the element in the first index is our value. Okay, so I'm just going to do this. Okay, give it a quick refresh. I guess I have done some spelling mistake or something like that. Const count. Oh, sorry, I can just get rid of this. Open this. Just give me 1 second. The error, there's some error. We have to. Oh, sorry, handle click is not a function. No, sorry. We removed that function, right? See, I'm getting this thing here. Number is in there. So this is actually an array. This state is just an array. This state is just an array. And the first element in this array is actually our value. So I can also have, let's say, let's upgrade. See, I'm getting this let's upgrade here. And the first, so in array, like if you remember, when we create an array like this, in array you can have, let's say, like Sanjay here. In the second element, you can have Mukesh or something like this. And if you want to access the value Sanjay, how you do that? Just write ARR and you just put the index number here. Okay, just like that. So this is what I'm doing. The same thing I'm doing here. And for now, let me close this. So we don't actually want these values. I just want it to be equal to 0. I just want it to equals to be 0. Okay, now it is 0. Now I want to make this value from 0 to 1. So for that, I can actually create a function again, handle click. And let me just pass this here on click, increase the value somehow. So suppose imagine if you have an array like this with the element, let's say 4, 6, 8, and you want to increase this thing. How you will do that? Suppose you want to increase the value of 4. How you can do that? Like ARR 0 equals to something like this, right? You are just going to update or like increment this value somehow. But this is not going to work in React. And here, the second thing comes into the picture. If you remember, this count is an array. The first element in this array was the initial value, whatever you have provided here. And the second thing was a function. And if you want to update this state, and if you want to re-render the UI, you have to call the function. So this count at the index of 1, we actually have a function. I can also show it to you. If I do this console.log for the count, And if I go over here like this, see, it's an array. In the array, the first thing is our value, and the second thing is our function. See, this is a function 0, and this is a function. And anytime you want to update anything, if you want to refresh your UI, you have to call this second function. So this is just a function, and I can call it like this. So this is a function actually, so we can call it a function like this. And if you pass any value inside of this function, let's say I provide 1000 here. So anything that you pass inside this function is going to be the new value for your state. So enough of talking, let's just try this right now. So what I'm doing here, let me just refactor everything so that it's going to be a little easy for us to understand. So this, at the first index, we have our value. Okay, at the 0th index, we have our value. And in the first index, we have a function. And if we call this function with a value, that value is going to be the new value for our state. So I'm passing this 1000 here for some reason. And I'm going to call this function handle click on click of this button here. So let me just do that. And see, now values getting updated, values getting changed. So this is a lot of thing to just to update simple value. But if I'm going to give you a quick recap, it's going to be super easy for us. But before that, we don't actually create states like this. So we use some JavaScript code trip, which is destructuring. So if this is an array, you can actually write it like this: count and set count. Let me just show this to you: count and set count. And you can call the set count like this, and you can use it like this. So this is much better to understand, and why you can do something like this. So for that, let's just have a quick recap of JavaScript. If we have an array with the with thing, let's say 1 2 3 4, okay, 1 to 4. And now if you want to create some variables, okay, number 1, which should be equals to this one. So how you can do this? ARR 0. If you want to create another number like this, you can do it like this. Yeah. So here, if you see, I have created a variable array, okay, with 3 elements, 1 2 and 4. And by using this array, I'm creating 3 variables: num1, num2, num3. Num1 is equals to array.0. Num2 is equals to array at the index of 1, so it's going to be equal to 2. And num3 is going to be equals to 4. There's a shortcut way of doing the same thing. We could have done something like this. Instead of this, we could have done like this: const create an array here and do something like this. Let me just put these things side by side. So it's just a one-liner. So behind the scene, it is going to do the same thing. So this num1 is going to be the value of the array at the element at index 0. Same way, num2 is going to be equal to this, and same way it's going to be like this. And this is the same thing that we are doing it here. So this thing, what just an array, like this count state. Count state is actually an array. Remember, the count state is actually an array. So I don't want to do this. I want to do something like this: count and set count, which is equals to this. So this is an array, and this array have 2 things inside of it. The first index actually consists of your value, and second one was the function. Second one was the function, and when you call this function, your UI will re-render, and you can actually pass any value inside of this. So this is what we are doing it here. So count is going to be your value, and set count is going to be the function, because this count state is an array. So this is what we are doing. So instead of doing it like this, we could have written this in a single line, but for now, let me just remove it. It's not related to React, it's just JavaScript. Let me just give it a quick try, like if everything is working or not. So if I do this like this, so see, I have to call this set count, this function with the new value. Your state value will be updated, and you can actually also get a re-render here. So if I do this, see, value is getting updated. Now, instead of passing this thing directly, I'm going to pass here count the plus 1. Okay, so the previous value of count 0 plus 1. So what I'm passing inside this function called the previous value plus 1. So every time I'm going to click on this button, it is going to call this function. It is going to call this function, and which is going to call this set count for us, which is going to increase the value of count by 1 by doing what? Count plus 1 here. Let me just show it to you. If I give it a refresh, I can see here, see the value of the number is getting increased. So it is the most difficult concept in React. So these states are the most difficult part in React, or in general in every programming, in every framework. Like in Vue, also we have these concept in Angular. If you go Certificate, Quick, everywhere we have this concept. Like in Flutter also. Okay, so these are the states, and now you also know, like if anybody already knew about this, so now they know why we write it like this. Or instead of doing this, you can actually write directly here. So this is what you will see for the most of the time. This is what you, it's destructuring. Sorry, I don't actually know. Yeah, you can use whatever you want, but in most of the time you will see something like this, right? So this is what we call as a state. Cool. Now I can actually have my title component here. I wanted to use that for so long, so I'm just going to have this. Okay, and heading, and for the heading I'm going to go with the count thing and give it a save, and I can click here, and that this is getting increased, and I'm going to use my button instead of the default button. Text will be click me. Let's just go over here, click me, and it also, I'm also getting one prop here on click. So let me just use it here. So this is going to be your assignment, like obviously, but I'm just going to use it like this: props.onClick. Props.onClick. Okay, we are actually going to cover this whole thing tomorrow as well. But now we are actually using our own component and the states. Okay, cool. So this is, I guess, this is a lot of thing for today. Before moving to the next part, let me just tell you, you have to mark your attendance, otherwise you won't get your certificate. You will see this attendance thing in the description. Just click here. I hope you're already registered. You should have registered yesterday already. Just go down and you will see that second link for the day 2. Okay, so here you will see this day 2. Just click on the mark attendance, how much you like this session, how much you got to know, how much you got to know some new cool stuff, or if you want to change anything you can, but please give 10 here because I like myself a lot. If you're interested in any of our premium programs, we also provide you with Java DSA, C++ DSA as well, I guess, and the full stack web development. I am a full stack developer, so I am interested in this part. If you have any suggestions for me for Let's Upgrade, you can just go over here. I don't have any suggestion for myself. I'm a little narcissist, so let's just submit the attendance, and that's it. Okay. So this is how you have to mark your attendance. Anyways, if you want to be the part of our programming, you can just go over here. You can refer it to your friend, our programs, and you can obviously have a look into our premium courses, which is C++ DSA, Java DSA, and our iconic course, Full Stack Web Development Program, where we guarantee you a job in 6 to 9 months. We have some awesome partners, placement partner with us. You can check our track record as well. The prices are very, very cheap. It's just like the amount of knowledge you will be getting is far more more than the amount you are actually paying. You will be getting 100% live learning every day. You will have a personal mentor who is going to teach you everything from the scratch. We are going to build a lot of projects, like more than 15 projects. If you're interested, you can go there. Anyways, tomorrow we will be back here again, and tomorrow we are actually going to build that project. We have covered most of the basic stuff. Now we know what is component, we know how to style the component, now we know about the states and well. Tomorrow we can actually create this. For the code, you will be getting the code, I guess, in the Telegram channel. I will be uploading the code to the GitHub, and then I will be sharing it with you. Yeah, Aditya, we could have done that as well, but I don't want to make things very complicated for the day one. Yeah, guys, so I hope you like the session. Please do like, subscribe, and share this with your friends. Because tomorrow we are actually going to do some advanced stuff. Obviously, we will be building that game. I will also show you how you can put some animations and all. But it depends how much strength we have. Like if we it's more than 70, 80, I'm just going to flood you people with some extra cool stuff. Yeah, anyways, thanks for joining. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye bye and take care.
Hey guys, hello everyone. Hello. Uh, Hi guys, so this is me Anam again. So I have joined to so that we'll start with quiz. So guys, I have a cold, so please bear with my voice for today. And yeah, guys, so I'll share the Kahoot website link and I will share my screen also. Guys, am I audible? Just tell me in the chat box that am I audible? Hello, guys. Please just tell me yes or no that am I audible or not. Yes, okay. So, guys, again, we'll play quiz. There are only 5 questions for today, and okay. Again, you will be having only 20 seconds to answer each question, and you will be needing two devices to answer the quiz. Like from one device, you will see the question on YouTube, and from the second one, you will be choose the correct color box that you see on first screen. So make sure that you're entering with your real name or username that you use for the Gmail ID, and this is the game pin 77204, or else you can scan this QR code so that you will be directly entered to the game. And make sure, please guys, make sure that you're entering with a real name, and please don't leave without sending me your email ID, whoever will be the winners. And I have already shared the website link in the chat box. Again, I'm sharing it. So we'll start the game till 7:35. Once I'll share in the chat box also the game pin. Guys, just log in, enter the game fast, and tell me once if you have done. And again, the rewards will be the same. The first winner will get free Java DSA. The second one will be getting rupees 3,000 off, and the third one will be getting rupees 1,500 off. So make sure that you're answering the questions in minimum second and winning this game. Who is this Charan? Charan, please enter with your full name if it's possible. Okay, only 10 people have joined for now. We'll wait till 7:35, then we'll start. Just let me know once in the chat box when everyone done entering the game. Can you share the Telegram link? Yes, I will share just after this quiz done. I will share the community links in the chat box. And that GitHub link that sir told, I will add it in the description box later on. You can get the link from the description box. Yeah, Naveen, send me again. I will share you the coupon code. Guys, please wait for this quiz. After this quiz, I will share the Telegram link in the chat box. Guys, for now, focus on this. Done? Okay, so we'll start. Okay, the game has started. Acha, my email address anamk@letsupgrade.in, or else you can also mail on admissions@letsupgrade.in. The first question is already, the time is up also. Which of the language is not used by React.js? The second one, we'll see the scoreboard at last, guys. Huh? So the second one, which definition suits React.js most? Which definition? There are 10 seconds only left. We have four options. Guys, 2 seconds. Time is up. Now we'll move to third one. React is maintained by. You have four options: Google, Microsoft, Apple, zero. Now we'll move to fourth. Hat does JSX stand for? Is it lagging from my side? My screen is lagging. The time is up already. We'll move to the last one. This is the last question. Which of the following is not an alternative of React.js? Not an alternative. So you have four options: Flutter, React Native, Vue, Next.js. From my screen, though, it's on time. I'm also like 2 seconds, only 20 answers, and the time is up. So we'll see the scoreboard, the podium, what it says. Naveen again. Naveen Patel, is it you only? No, yeah, Naveen. Two Naveen and one Suresh. So Java DSA wala quiz, right? So shall I, for Naveen and Suresh, shall I move forward? Means instead of you both, shall I give this chance to others? Yeah, Naveen Patel, you're second. Naveen and Suresh. Naveen, you already received, means I will share you again the previous wala Java DSA ka. For this time, can I share your coupon to somebody else? To the third and fourth, sorry, fourth and fifth one. Like then Naveen will, Suresh, all is well. Suresh is you. Do you, Naveen Kumar? Okay, okay. So Naveen Kumar will be the first winner. He will get free Java DSA, and will he will be the first one now. So we'll see the fourth and fifth winner. The fourth one will get the second winner's coupon, and the fifth one will get the Naveen. I will send you. I will resend you the previous coupon. Don't worry. Just Naveen Kumar will be getting the first one now. So now, what you want, Surya? Just tell me. Okay, so I will give. I will give Surya again the first winner's coupon, and Naveen Patel will be the second one, and the Muthu is Muthu. Please share your email ID. I will give you the third winner's coupon. Muthu, okay, Surya will share you the first winner's coupon now. I will give all the details in chat box, like how to enroll, how to sign in, how to process the uh, enrollment. I will admission. I will tell you everything in mail. I will tell you everything there. Muthu, who is Muthu? Please, can you share me your email ID? Just write your username. Don't write @gmail.com. I will get it. Who is Muthu? So I will share. Suresh, the first winners. Naveen Patel will be the Kumar will be the second winner, and Muthu will be the third. Guys, is Muthu there, or I go move forward? No one is sharing. All is Suresh. Please send again your email ID to me, please. But they are only not responding. So Mahendra Singh is Manendra Singh. Are you there? Who's my Manendra Singh? No one is sharing. No one is sharing me the coupon code email ID. Okay. So we'll wind up for today. So see you guys tomorrow again at the same time, 6:30. And guys, make sure that you're liking the video, sharing with your friends, and subscribing the Let's Upgrade channel. So bye guys, bye everyone. See you tomorrow, same time. Bye guys.